Branching off today, we are talking New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is the year I'm getting into New Japan, and this is a big story that sort of broke from the New Japan world. So let's dive into it. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about Kota Ibushi leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling and becoming a free agent. But before we dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below about Kota Ibushi, because I will reply to every single one of them. And yeah, let's get into this. So Kota Ibushi has officially left New Japan Pro Wrestling. There was a statement put out by New Japan, and there was a statement put out by Kota Ibushi. He is a free agent, and that is mind-blowing in terms of, well, not mind-blowing necessarily, because a lot of stuff, Kota Ibushi has said a lot of stuff about the management at New Japan. It didn't seem like it was particularly amicable, everything that was going on there with allegations of misconduct and stuff like that. But Kota Ibushi is now gone. The former IWGP champion has gone. He is free. He's free to do whatever he likes in the world of pro wrestling. And that is exciting. It's very exciting, because Kota Ibushi is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and one of my personal favourites, new favourites of New Japan Pro Wrestling, as I've gone back and watched some of his older matches. And I'd like to see a lot from Kota Ibushi. He has a lot in the tank, a lot left to offer. Obviously, he was taken out with injury against Okada was his last match, I believe, in the G1 final of 2021. I could be wrong about that. And he hasn't wrestled since, so he's going to be sort of making this comeback tour from injury. And where do we think he's going to end up? So it's been reported that a lot of the stuff Kota Ibushi wants to do is work a lot of freelance dates. So stuff like he is already announced for GCW shows across the summer, I think in April, I think they are. And he'll probably be announced for a lot more independent shows in the US, or potentially, fingers crossed, here in the UK, we might be able to see Kota Ibushi at like a Rev Pro show or something like that. But it's the two big ones we're looking at. AEW and WWE will either make a play for Kota Ibushi. Now, obviously, AEW, there's that connection. A lot of New Japan, former New Japan talent, and New Japan themselves have had a working relationship with AEW. Guys like Jeff Cobb have come across. You've had Forbidden Door, for crying out loud. So a lot of New Japan guys and former New Japan guys are in AEW. And Kenny Omega, of course, beautiful friends with Kota Ibushi, and I'm sure he'd be thrilled to bring him into the fold in AEW. The issue with Ibushi being in AEW is I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. I really, really don't, because it's stacked. It's absolutely stacked, and I get the cycling of talent that AEW does, but they are bringing in and creating new stars like that. You know, Konosuke Takeshita was recently signed, and he's already in sort of a main event program with MJF. MJF's lined up Eddie Kingston to be a main event player against him. You've got the Elite hanging around there as well. You've got Moxley and Hangman, all these guys who feel like top guys in AEW and could all slot into that title picture. It just feels a bit rammed at the moment for Kota Ibushi to fit in. And I don't want him, I don't want Kota Ibushi feuding with the Firm. Let me just say that. I don't want that to happen in the slightest. Then you've got WWE, and I bet Triple H is salivating at the fact he could potentially get Kota Ibushi on his roster. He was obviously incredibly behind other stars from New Japan, like Shinsuke Nakamura's, and he presented Nakamura as a huge star. He gave him the big entrance, he gave him the NXT title win, gave him the NXT title runs, and yeah, he presented Nakamura as a great, star on the roster, and now Nakamura feels like a staple of WWE programming. Whether he'd want to bring in a new Japanese star and try and make them the next big deal in WWE and fit him straight into the main roster, potentially. Triple H would probably be up for that. He's been on a signing spree. He's brought in Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano. He's brought all these people back, and he'll probably want more. He probably thinks he can do something with Kota Ibushi, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing how Kota Ibushi does in a Triple H-led creative avenue on main roster. Thinking of some of the matches that could happen: Kota Ibushi versus Roman Reigns, Kota Ibushi versus Cody Rhodes, Kota Ibushi Seth Rollins. There's a lot of good stuff that you could have there that is very fresh, very fresh. My worry about WWE for Kota Ibushi is obviously you've got the Vince umbrella hanging over everything, and we've seen how he treats, foreign stars. Essentially, they're either, big bad guys, or they just don't get a good run. He didn't do well with Shinsuke Nakamura, did Vince? And it's obviously that's the thing there. You've got these two opposing forces in WWE seemingly colliding, and hopefully Triple H can push Vince away and actually do something great with Kota Ibushi if he's brought into the fold. So they're the big two. There's always an option of Impact, maybe, but I feel like Kota Ibushi's going to come with pretty high asking price considering all the classics that he's had over in New Japan and in DDT. So there's a lot of avenues that Ibushi could go. My first thought, I am actually leaning, I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm leaning more so to Kota Ibushi going to WWE. I think he could do really well under Triple H if Triple H fully gets behind him. And I think he could be the big sort of crossover star that he's been looking for. And yeah, I think Triple H would be down for that. I really think that's Triple H's sort of thing. Would have been great to have Ibushi come at the Rumble. Can you imagine that? But maybe Raw after Mania, you get Kota Ibushi debuting. Potentially, maybe Matt Cardona on the same show. But who knows about that? I think I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning more towards that. The matches would be better in AEW, but I think the landscape of AEW does more harm to Ibushi than it does good. Whereas the landscape in WWE, I feel like, is missing a star of Ibushi's caliber. This big, new, hot free agent signing like AJ Styles did back in 2016. So that's my thought. I think Kota Ibushi to WWE. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Where do you think Kota Ibushi should go? What should he do next? Let me know, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.